In case you haven't heard, the Timberwolves have traded Andrew Wiggins along with picks to Golden State for D'Angelo Russell. And this trade surprised me. Obviously, I'm not surprised that D'Angelo Russell is in Minnesota. The Timberwolves have been clamoring after him ever since last summer. But I am surprised that Andrew Wiggins is involved in this deal. I couldn't imagine the Warriors wanting Andrew Wiggins on their team. This is for two reasons. The first reason is that Wiggins has one of the worst contracts in the league. He is owed about $30 million a year for 3 years after this season. Given that the Warriors are already handing out huge amounts of money to Steph, Klay, and Draymond for the next 3 to 4 years, you would assume that they would want expiring contracts that can give them some flexibility. And the second reason why I didn't think the Warriors would want Wiggins, he's a terrible fit. I'm not talking positionally. Yes, of course, Wiggins is a small forward technically, and the Warriors technically need small forwards, but I'm talking about play style. Golden State built its 5-year dynasty on ball movement. From the stars to the role players, they had guys with high basketball IQ who played unselfishly. They embraced analytics, they shot a lot of threes, and passed up good shots for great shots. Andrew Wiggins is a pretty big antithesis to that philosophy. I mean, he's not the worst. There's a ball hog up in Cleveland that wears number 2 that is so much worse. But Wiggins is pretty bad, whereas the Warriors emphasize doing all the things outside of scoring. The only thing Andrew Wiggins has proven that he can do on the court is score. And when he does score, he does it in the opposite way Golden State players do. Wiggins is a below average 3-point shooter. He is not very aggressive driving to the rim despite his incredible athleticism, which results in him averaging very few free throw attempts. And he likes settling for contested mid-range jumpers, which, by the way, he's not very good at either. So because of his play style and because of his awful contract, I thought, why would Golden State trade for him? Well, clearly, they have something in mind that we don't. Let's first get it out of the way. Yes, Golden State could still end up trading away Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, it can't happen this season, but a year, 2 years down the line, maybe. But still, this is a rather big commitment. There's not a lot of teams out there that are able and willing to take Andrew Wiggins on because of his long, hefty contract. So when I analyze this trade on face value, the Warriors got robbed. Given how badly the Timberwolves wanted D'Angelo Russell, and given that there were at least a couple other teams that had interest in trading for D'Angelo Russell, you should have gotten a lot more value, especially if you're taking on a negative value contract in return. Unless Golden State has a different perception of who Andrew Wiggins can be. I think this trade is the Warriors making a bet on themselves to be able to change Andrew Wiggins as a player. Very few head coaches get to coach all-time greats like Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Almost no first-time head coaches get to take over a championship contending team. And so when Golden State's roster underwent massive changes this past summer and they brought in a ton of new guys, I said this is the time to see whether or not Steve Kerr's system, whether or not Golden State's system, is all it's hyped up to be. Now that Andrew Wiggins has come in, what better way to prove the effectiveness of your system than to take a player that is the antithesis to your system and make him succeed in your system. The Warriors aren't doing anything remarkable this season, but next season when Klay Thompson comes back healthy, they'll have, at least on paper, what looks like a championship contending roster, with the biggest unknown factor being Andrew Wiggins. What type of player are you getting in Andrew Wiggins on the Warriors? Is he just Harrison Barnes? Are you happy if he's just Harrison Barnes? Let's drill into the details. Obviously, when healthy, Steph and Klay are option 1 and option 2 offensively. They're going to draw on a lot of help defense, and Wiggins will get more open looks in Golden State than he did in Minnesota. Now, Wiggins is an average catch and shoot player. His catch and shoot 3-point percentage this season per NBA.com stats is around 36%. It's just average. Though there are some good signs, at least this season, he's upped his 3-point attempts significantly compared to last season. Although the fit here isn't really about his 3-point shooting. Neither Iguodala nor Livingston were great shooters or floor spacers, but they played with Steph and Klay just fine. The key is that they were good ball handlers and good passers who understood the Warriors' playbook front and back. Wiggins is not a reliable ball handler. He's grown as a passer this season, but he's still far from that level. And then we come to defense. Throughout high school and college, Wiggins was touted as a player with elite defensive talent, and clearly the physical tools are all there. He even had flashes as a rookie defending guys like LeBron, but that elite defense that was promised has never shown through. I do think that defense is something that can be taught. It helps a lot if the player is willing to increase their effort levels and if that player is playing alongside other good defensive players. In the past 5 years, we've accumulated more than enough statistical evidence that when you have a healthy Steph Curry on the floor, you will have an elite offense. It almost doesn't matter what type of players you put around him. That's just how good offensively Steph Curry is. Defense is what the Warriors will really need next year, especially as their stars continue to get older. You know what this situation strangely reminds me of? Marvin Williams. You guys know who Marvin Williams is, right? Power forward. He's been playing in Charlotte for like the last 6 years or something. You know, good three-point shooter, decent role player, got paid in 2016. Probably a little bit overpaid, but still a pretty good player. Now, if you're a hardcore NBA fan, you may know or remember that Marvin Williams was the second overall pick in 2005. Second overall pick. In fact, the two players drafted behind him in 2005 were Darren Williams and Chris Paul. Yikes. Now, partially due to injuries, Marvin Williams never even came close to being Darren Williams or Chris Paul. Similarly, Andrew Wiggins will never come close to being Joel Embiid. But that doesn't mean he can't still have a good career and be an important player for playoff teams or championship teams. It feels weird to say that this is the last chance for Andrew Wiggins because he's only 24, but it kind of is. If Golden State can't help you, if Golden State can't change the way you play and make you a better contributing player, who can? This is it. This is it.